Okay, so let's talk about something really important. If you're thinking about biblical counseling, you're obviously looking for wisdom, for hope, but how do you actually know if a counselor is safe, humble, and accountable? Well, today we're going to break down a really practical guide to help you figure that out.
And just so you know, the game plan we're using here comes straight from the incredible work of Restoring Hope Ministries. They put together a guide specifically to empower people just like you in this search for healing. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's just pause right here. The source material makes a huge point right at the start. Deciding to seek help, to trust someone with your story, that is an act of profound courage. It's a really vulnerable step, and it absolutely deserves to be met with care you can actually trust. And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Because look, good intentions are great, but they don't automatically make a counselor safe. So what we're going to do here is give you the tools you need to spot the difference, to find care that's the real deal.
All right, first things first, we have to look past the degrees on the wall and the books on the shelf. We need to talk about the counselor's foundational posture. This is all about their core attitude, the heart behind what they do. It's not just what they say, it's about how they are in that room with you.
So what does that actually look like? Well, a safe counselor sees this work as a sacred thing, not just a job. They're humble, they know they don't have all the answers, and this is so important. They respect your pace. They will never, ever pressure you to share something you're not ready for. It's your story on your terms, period. And this is a huge one. How do they handle the Bible? An unsafe approach often feels like they're just proof texting, throwing out verses like slogans. It's kind of like putting a little spiritual band-aid on a really deep wound. A safe counselor, though, they handle scripture with incredible care and context, making space for all the complexity of your pain. Okay, so a good heart and a humble attitude are awesome, right? But they need to be backed up by something solid. And that brings us to our next point, the guardrails. We're talking about ethics and competence, the stuff that proves they're actually committed to keeping you safe. Think of it like this. A really responsible counselor operates with two layers of accountability. You've got biblical ethics on one hand, wisdom, protecting the vulnerable, and then you've got professional standards, real disciplined practices around things like confidentiality and boundaries. It's not an either-or thing. You really need both. And here is a message I really need you to hear. You are allowed to ask questions. Seriously, you have every right to know about their training. Ask about their education. Ask if they have specialized training for your specific needs, like trauma or addiction. Ask them what their plan is if something is beyond their expertise. Asking these things isn't you being difficult, it's you being wise. Okay, listen up, because this next part is a potential game changer. The guide we're drawing from suggests there is one single question that can act as a powerful litmus test, a way to gauge a counselor's health and maturity. It's described as a defining mark that often separates the safe from the unsafe. Because here's the truth. Every counselor has blind spots. We all do. A healthy counselor knows this and actively works to protect their clients from those blind spots. And that commitment to protecting you, that humility in action, it's often revealed by how they answer one simple but vital question. You ready? Here it is. Are you under supervision or part of a consultation group? See, a counselor who works in total isolation is vulnerable. They're vulnerable to making mistakes, to letting boundaries drift, to causing unintended harm. Supervision isn't a sign of weakness. It is a profound sign of strength and a commitment to your safety. And how they answer this tells you almost everything. A green flag is a positive, open, non-defensive response. They see accountability as protection for you and for them. But a red flag? Whoa. If they get evasive or dismissive or act like they're above needing oversight, the source is clear. That is a very big deal. So let's pull all this together into a practical toolkit that you can actually use. Let's talk about the green flags to look for and the red flags to, well, avoid. So on the green flag list, look for someone who has clear written policies. Someone who not only answers your questions, but actually welcomes them. Someone who speaks with compassion and invites you to be a partner in your own healing journey. These are all fantastic signs. And on the flip side, the red flags, using scripture as a weapon to shut you down, any kind of pressure or spiritual guilt tripping, blurry boundaries. If they can't clearly explain their own policies or practices, yeah, that should give you serious pause. If you take only one thing away from this whole explainer, let it be this: you are allowed to ask questions. Vetting a counselor isn't being cynical, it's being wise. It's you taking an active, powerful role in your own journey toward healing. Because what you're looking for at the end of the day is this simple but profound thing. Find care that is accountable. A counselor who willingly puts themselves under the oversight of others is a counselor who is serious about protecting you.
Your story, your heart, your healing journey. It is sacred. So the final question isn't really about them. It's about you. Are you ready to advocate for yourself and ask for the safe, humble, and accountable care that you absolutely deserve?